must admit that I was really amazed and taken back by not only Chris Adams' actions last week, but also his timing. He was ready to go for the world belt, and all of a sudden it's ego out of control.
Well, when I first signed with Chris Adams, I gave up a very lucrative deal on the East Coast because I knew that Chris Adams had the ability to become the next world's heavyweight champion. And I thought, with my guidance, that Chris Adams would someday be the world's heavyweight champion. I promised Chris Adams that he would become the #1 contender for the world's title, and that promise came true, Christopher. I also promised that I would make you the American heavyweight champion. Also, I made that promise come true. But Chris Adams, you have humiliated me and have made me the laughing stock of the wrestling business, because the whole wrestling business knew that you were the man to beat Ricky Flair. But what you accomplished was something that you will be paying back the rest of your life. You destroyed my dream of being my first world heavyweight champion. You were just one of 14 American heavyweight champions that Gary Hart led to the gold. So I don't think in anyone's mind they can say you were the first person that I made a star. And you will not be the last person that I have literally destroyed in the wrestling business. And my plans for you, Chris Adams, before Gary Hart, you had the wrestling fans behind you. And when they deserted you, you had Gary Hart, the man that led you to the American title in the gold. And because of Gino Hernandez, you fired me. That's fine, my man, but I don't forget being humiliated, and I'll remember you. Next week here in Fort Worth, there is a battle royal that Skandor Akbar was talking about. He's bringing back his big black Kamala. Well, good. Because the one-man gang can handle you, Kamala. He can handle Gino the Punk Hernandez. And we got something special for you, Chris Adams, next Monday night here. And I'm going to take care of you, Chris Adams, but first, I have something else that's been in my craw for quite some time. Week after week, I've stood here and I have issued challenge after challenge to any Von Erich, to try the most deadly, the most feared, the most awesome hold in professional wrestling, mastered by none other than the living legend himself, Fritz Von Erich. But no Von Erich wants to step forward. But I know, Kerry Von Erich, that you're in the back. I know you're here tonight, and I know you're listening on the monitor. And if you're not, some of your honky friends are. And I want to invite you on out here, and I want to make a challenge face to face. This thing with Fritz Von Erich and I goes back a long time. It has been one of the most dynamic, one of the most vicious feuds in the history of professional wrestling. And every man that I've ever had, Fritz Von Erich has put him down, or one of his boys has put him down with the iron claw. Fritz Von Erich has stripped me nude in the middle of the ring. Fritz Von Erich has shaved my head. Fritz Von Erich has done everything in the world to humiliate me. But now, I got something to say to you. I don't want any trouble. I don't want any fisticuffs. I don't want you to act like your father and start smacking me around like you own me. And as you see, my hands are in my pockets. I know better than anybody in professional wrestling the power of the Iron Claw. I know that you, your brother David, Kevin, and yourself and young Mike have all developed a very strong claw. I would like it to be your legendary father. But since it isn't, I say any Von Erich, whoever it will be, I want to bring the one-man gang here next Monday night. I want some Von Erich to slap the claw onto his head, and I want 35 million television viewers to see that this time I have something that no Von Erich can stop, Kerry Von Erich.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. I'm going to stand here, put the claw on your man while he stands there and lets me put the iron claw on his head. What's in it for me, Hart?
You see, all you Von Erichs are alike. You want to know what's in it for you. It's what's in it for me. If, and I say if, you cannot put the one-man gang down with your claw, then your father, Fritz Von Erich, comes on national television in the middle of the ring here at the Will Rogers Coliseum and says to the wrestling world that Gary Hart has found a man that is impervious to pain, that the Iron Claw will not work on, and yes, that Gary Hart has a better mind than any Von Erich who's ever lived.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hart. My father may say it if your man doesn't go down, but he won't mean it.
That's nothing new, because your father ain't never been nothing but a big mouth liar in his... Referee! Hey! Come on! Referee!
Don't say nothing
Referee!
about my father, or I'll knock your head off. Nothing about my father, boy. I'll bust your face wide open.
Referee, next Monday night, you be here. I'll have the one-man gang, and just to show you that I'm not a selfish person, what do you want in return?
Like I was asking, all I want.
Get in here!
Hey, Hart, just shut your mouth and listen. This is your deal, not mine. All I want is for your man to finally sign the dotted line, which you've eliminated. You've kept me out of your stable, wrestling your men. You won't sign the contracts. So all I'm asking, quit dodging me, sign the contract, and all I want is an even match after I put your man down. Even.
Okay. Next Monday night, Will Rogers Coliseum. One-man gang, you're accepting in the name of the Von Erich. You put the claw on the one-man gang. If the gang does not remove it, or you cannot defeat him, your father will make an apology to the wrestling world, and if, and this is a very small if some reason that I'm wrong, which I know I'm not, and you do make him succumb to the claw, you got whatever you want, any stipulation, any kind of deal. But I'm telling you, you're going fishing and you ain't got no bait.
Kerry?
Gary Hart, you've got a deal.